Hi, John and Mary. Thank you for coming in. It's been a pleasure working with the both of you. But before I start, I want to let you know that this is your meeting and stop me at any time if you have any questions or concerns. Before we get into it, we just have to take care of a few housekeeping items, so please stop me if I'm incorrect on any of this data gathering information. I have you, John and Mary, both age 68 and both currently retired. John, retired from a previously owned marketing firm, and Mary, who is retired and worked for almost 20 years as a bookkeeper for a local CPA firm. You have two children, Stephen and Robert, Stephen age 38 and Robert age 36. Stephen has three children, two boys, Michael age 15 and James age 10. Stephen also has one daughter, Sarah, who is age 11. The scope of our engagement is to prepare a comprehensive financial plan to help you reach your financial goals. The purpose of the plan is to provide a framework for helping you reach your financial goals and objectives. The plan consists of a section for each of the following areas: your financial health, your risk insurance management, investment planning, retirement planning, tax planning, and unfortunately, estate planning at the very end. The plan concludes with an action plan which identifies the actions needed to implement the most important planning recommendations. Through our relationship, we've formulated what your goals are. And a comprehensive review of your financial situation was conducted using information you provided to our firm. The following financial goals were identified and prioritized on the goal-setting worksheet. Number 1, reduce any estate and gift tax liability and ensure all estate planning documents are in order. Number 2, review insurance contracts and discuss the implications of purchasing a long-term care policy. Number 3, establish a college funding plan for your three grandchildren, Sarah, James, and Michael. Number 4, reduce personal income taxes. Number 5, looking for a recommendation for a well-diversified portfolio to meet your investment goals and expectations, all the while taking in consideration of your risk tolerance. Taking in consideration of your risk tolerance, you have completed a risk tolerance questionnaire, and we agreed with the results. You are very, very willing to take on investment risk to grow your investments and achieve your investment goals. Along the way, we need to take on some economic assumptions. What we know today is that you are most definitely in the highest marginal tax bracket of the 39.6. We've decided another assumption as an expected rate of inflation of 3%, and assuming a risk-free rate of 2.75 and a market premium of 7%. First and foremost, we want to take a look at a summary of your financial health. The following documents were prepared and are attached to this plan: Statement of Financial Position, Ratio Analysis, and Statement of Cash Flow. Your current financial situation reports you have a net worth of a little bit close to $19.5 million. $19,495,880 to be exact. And net disposable income of $3,020,226. Together, you have a sizable net worth and adequate disposable income that can be used in reaching your financial goals. In addition, we calculated your current ratio, meaning your ability to pay short-term liabilities. We noticed you have a current ratio of 131%, which illustrates you have significant amount of cash on hand, which communicating back and forth, which is higher than usual for you guys. But mostly this comes from the most recent installment sale. If a portion is needed as an emergency fund, great idea. But having over $2 million in one bank account is a liability. You should be aware of your FDIC and SIPC insurance on your savings account. Your primary residence, which is fully paid for, congratulations. You own 100% of it. You should be very proud of that. The vacation home has a fair market value of about $750,000 with a remaining mortgage balance of $19,292 with equity of approximately $730K. Currently, the mortgage is fixed at 5% with 33 payments remaining, or a little bit under 3 years, 2.75 years. To improve your current financial position and accomplish one or more of your goals, we reviewed the statement of cash flows to determine if some expenses could be reduced and savings applied to reduce your current debt. For example, consider the balance of Mary's credit card. A difficult conversation between a husband and wife, but $14,700. With all the additional cash you have on hand, you should easily be able to zero out this balance and avoid paying high interest. Also, with the excess cash, you should consider putting some of this to work. For example, investing in the stock market will earn more than cash. Investing some of this cash will also beat inflation versus earning almost close to zero in that savings account. Lastly, you mentioned you'd like to help your grandchildren with college expenses. A very simple and easy way to go about this is to fund 529 plans. To implement this on your current financial situation, we suggest the following. Pay off Mary's credit card debt. Open additional savings accounts to take advantage of FDIC and SIPC insurance if you plan to have that much cash on hand. Invest cash to beat inflation. Open and fund the 529 plans for your 3 grandchildren. And you should consider refinancing your vacation home's mortgage or pay it off altogether. Next, we want to talk about your risk and your insurance management. A scenario was prepared to identify any weaknesses in your insurance coverage. A review of your current risk management position demonstrated the following strengths and weaknesses. First, your homeowner's policy needs to be at least 80% of the home's value. Currently, you don't have 80% of coverage. You will need to increase this coverage. Further, you should consider purchasing flood insurance on the primary residence, but definitely on the vacation home. Second, the personal auto policy looks adequate. However, the umbrella policy of $1 million is not sufficient, and an additional amount of coverage should be purchased to increase this amount to $2 million or $3 million. Next, disability insurance. Well, considering neither of you are working, there's no really any reason to have disability insurance. Lastly, a difficult conversation in recent years, and many people are talking about, is long-term care. You are both in great health currently. There's no denying that. But no one knows what the future holds. One option, which a lot of people are doing today, is to roll the dice and self-fund. Another option is to review a hybrid long-term care / life insurance policy that allows for long-term care coverage, and a death benefit upon death. In some cases, you can do a 1035 exchange and use the cash value in a current policy to fund this hybrid vehicle. An option today could possibly for Mary's Universal Life. If you want to hear about more of these vehicles, we should sit with your insurance agent to consider the 2 options and see what fits you. My recommendation at this time is to self-fund. And please, stop me at any time if you have any questions or if I'm going too fast. Next, we move into investment planning. An analysis of the investment portfolio is prepared for you and is attached, and I'm happy to review that further. But to keep it high level, your current investment situation has some weaknesses that need to be addressed. Further, diversification is needed to provide prudent risk-reward portfolio catered to your above-average appetite for risk. Some recommendations we do have to improve your current position, we suggest the following. First and foremost, we need to diversify the stock portfolio. There are only four stocks within this. A tax harvesting strategy can be used to create a $3,000 loss in this current year. Stock A has an unrealized loss of $218,000. While unfortunate, we can go ahead and book this loss and use this to offset future gains. Additionally, the remaining capital loss carryforwards remain unused until offset by capital gains. With these losses moving forward in your return year to year. Second, you are currently in a high tax bracket. With the bond allocation of your portfolio, we suggest an allocation to tax-free municipal bonds if it creates a higher yield than corporates. Further, within the bond allocation, we need to consider duration and current interest rates. Third, due to your unique circumstances to tobacco products, I suggest you reach out to your financial advisor and have them confirm that none of these mutual funds in your portfolio hold tobacco products. There are many underlying investments within mutual funds, and if you have a significant problem with tobacco products, you need to be aware and we need to not be invested in those. Fourth, you should consider a more globally diversified portfolio. Your portfolio has a domestic bias to the United States. All things considered, we are in the United States, and the U.S. stock market has done extremely well. But valuations and market cycles do happen. We need to be aware of this and look to build out a more globally diversified portfolio. Finally, we recommend you adjust your dividends to be paid to cash if they are currently set to be reinvested. Reason being, this will be helpful when rebalancing the portfolio in the future. Also, you being in the distribution and retirement phase, this will help create liquidity for your distributions. If you accept these investment planning recommendations, we will develop an asset allocation strategy for your portfolio that maximizes return in a tax-efficient, more diversified, and matches your above-average risk tolerance level. Circling back just briefly to your stock portfolio, harvesting the losses is a great thing to do, and we can offset some of the unrealized gains within the other stocks to do that. Diversifying away, we suggest moving away from these concentrated stocks and purchasing more diversified ETFs and mutual funds. Of course, not having tobacco products. Moving forward, we've taken a look at retirement planning. A retirement plan analysis was conducted for the both of you. Both of you being retired, IRA contributions are no longer allowable, not working and no longer having earned income. In a few short years, the both of you will be required to take minimum distributions from your retirement accounts when you hit the age of 70 and a half. In an effort to leave the most money to your children and grandchildren from your retirement accounts, we did consider a Roth conversion. In your case, we suggest foregoing the Roth conversion as you are in the highest marginal tax bracket, and based upon your calculations, you're better off not converting. That doesn't mean that there are other opportunities for you to go ahead and convert in other years of your life, but right now, this financial snapshot in your financial plan, we suggest not doing a Roth conversion. Moving into one of my favorite categories is income tax planning. There's a lot of different things you can do to improve your income tax planning. The documents we used were the installment sale and your recent returns. A review of your tax situation shows that changes can be made to reduce your income tax liability. You are looking for some clarity on the tax treatment realized on the down payment in first installments of the sale of your business, and it's calculated as follows. There will be approximately $1.7 million in capital gains, which represents the down payment less the return of basis of approximately $650,000. The taxation of the 3 installment payments of approximately $920,000 consists of 360 interest ordinary income payments plus 341,000 long-term capital gains. The installment sale is very tricky. It's something we should walk through alone on its own. Next, a loss harvesting strategy to lower capital gains. Specifically for 2015, this will be helpful with the large capital gains from the installment sale. Next, you should gift appreciated stocks versus cash. Further, for 2015, we should try to double our contributions to maximize your deductions. Another interesting way to go about this is if you were to implement a donor-advised fund, but that's something we should look at a little bit later. There's more things on the table now that are more important. Interestingly, acquiring different assets are helpful with diversification, but some assets that have become difficult to liquidate and receive your return on investment. For example, John, your inverted Jenny stamp collection has a basis of $725,000. Assuming you were to sell this, you would pay 15% commission to go ahead and make the sale. Further, you would have to pay an extra 28% in collectible taxes. Not saying you're going to sell the stamps anytime soon, but it's something to remember. Estate planning. We've gone ahead and took your entire estate planning process and where you are today. Where we are, we can take steps to get us to where we need to be. Your current situation, if John were to pass away today, he would have a taxable estate as he is above the federal exemption of $5.43 million and will be subject to probate fees and expenses. Mary, on the other hand, you would not have a taxable estate. At this time, there are no essential planning documents in place, such as powers of attorneys, healthcare proxies, or things of that nature to manage your affairs if either you would become incapacitated. Right now, there are 2 irrevocable trusts that have been established, one being an ILIC through which the premium is covered by the $2,275,000 of the interest-bearing bonds that were placed into this ILIC. Keep in mind, if John were to pass away today, due to the 3-year look-back period, this ILIC will be pulled back into the gross estate. The other ILIC consists of $2 million of mutual funds, and the beneficiaries of this are Stephen and Michael, your 2 children. Our recommendations would be to change the title of your homes and autos from sole ownership to tenancy by entirety to avoid probate costs. These changes would automatically transfer the properties to the surviving spouses at the time of the first spouse's death, which is compatible with your objectives. Next, we would like to establish revocable trust to support division of asset equalization. We'd like to keep things kind of 50-50, so when the difficult day comes. We definitely need to visit with an estate planning attorney to obtain powers of attorney and healthcare proxies. Lastly, per your request, to fund a trust that would receive income tax deduction for charitable gifting. We suggest setting up a charitable remainder trust. One thing to keep in mind is there is a charity that you would like to receive the remainder at the end. Happy to chat with you about that and the logistics. We will need to get an attorney involved. To implement, we need to make an appointment with an estate planning attorney to accomplish these estate planning objectives. It should be done as soon as possible. The cost for implementing these recommendations, including changing titles and attorney's fees. These expenses can certainly be paid from your large savings account at this time. Do you have any questions? Great. I'll continue to the action plan. Several financial strengths were identified during the financial planning analysis. However, our analysis also indicates that the below specific areas need immediate attention. These recommendations are aligned with your goals and will help you improve your financial position. As discussed before, one of the most important things we need to do up front is visit with an estate planning attorney to obtain the proper trusts, healthcare proxies, and powers of attorney if you were to become incapacitated. This needs immediate attention. Next, on the brighter side, we'd like to open up those 529 plans and have a conversation how to fund those. You have the option to gift $14,000 a year, each of you, into these for each of your grandchildren if you would like 3. There is another option where you can superfund 5 years of gifting into these plans. 529 plans are a great thing for our grandchildren or even our children. An interesting story that I'll let you know about is that just recently I've opened them up for my nephews. Yes, there's not much money going in there these days, but different family members and friends, instead of buying all those toys and gifts on Easter, Christmas, any Jewish holiday, they also put money into the 529 plan, which is a great savings plan for children in their future and education. Next, we want to set aside an emergency fund that has at least 6 months of cash needs. On top of that number, we want to have an additional $40,000 to purchase the car that you need. We need to keep in mind the SIPC and FDIC insurance for these savings accounts. We need to tread cautiously. In an effort to reduce income taxes, we need to be sure to make the charitable gifts outlined above. If you feel philanthropic, the next steps would be to funding the CRT, which is a few other steps to follow. We need to buy flood insurance and extend the umbrella policy and extend the homeowner's insurance for adequate coverage. In regards to your portfolio, we would like to diversify your stock and bond portfolio. Our firm can develop an investment asset allocation strategy for you that maximizes investment returns, minimizes taxes, and is aligned with your risk tolerance. We will present our investment planning recommendations in our next meeting. I've been doing a lot of talking. Again, do you have any questions or clarifying questions? I'm happy to review any of this. Great. Thank you. Now we should discuss next steps and what we need to do from here. Looking at a financial plan is helpful, but taking action is the most important thing. We should be reviewing this financial plan annually, updating it, and deciding what competing goals are most important for us. We get pulled in a lot of different directions. It's been a pleasure sitting here and speaking with you and revising this plan. I'll be following up. Thank you.